Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am really excited to announce that we're going to be doing a walk around on our brand new 2023 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD, and this is a custom trim package. So we decided to go ahead and buy a new truck. I'm going to take you around and just kind of show you some of the stuff on there. The truck's a mess right now because we've had nothing but bad weather for about the last month. We've either had extreme record low temperatures and snow and ice, and then once it kind of got through that, we went straight into just having rain. So the truck is in a mess right now, but it's only got 641 miles on it. You know, been driving it over the last month. So follow along with us today, and I'll take you around and show you the features and some of the things that we got on this truck. And also I'll show you the window sticker with the MSRP on it, and then also what we paid for the truck. There'll be a whole bunch of videos coming up on this for different things, or it'll be fuel mileage, or you know, some accessories, towing, all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for all that, because this is basically going to start a whole series on this truck. So as you can see, we bought a Chevy Silverado. This is the 2500 HD. This is a 2023 model. And it is the custom trim package. Which the custom package actually gives you a few things kind of above, you know, just your basic work truck package, which I was really looking at work trucks, you know, an XL and a Ford, the Ram Tradesman, and then the WT actually in the Chevrolet. And then I ended up coming across the custom, and the custom adds your nicer 20-inch wheels, and I really like the looks of these wheels versus all the others in the other trim packages. They just look really cheap in the others. It also added your painted bumpers. So on this one, you've got your trim that matches the paint collar, and then you've got actually black painted glossy bumpers, which I like this really well. And in this particular collar, with the red and the black, I think they really offset each other really well. I actually seen this yesterday in black on black, and it looked phenomenal too. Also, it kind of adds a few little creature comforts, like having the lights here in the mirror. This light actually shines behind the truck. Like if you're backing up to a trailer in the night, then you can turn this light on and it shines back behind the truck where you can see back here. It does have the tow hooks on the front, which they are painted black also. I was actually kind of surprised, but the lenses here in the park lights and headlights are a little bit of a smoked look instead of a perfectly clear. So I like that also, because it kind of gives it a little bit more higher trim level look. They're not blacked out, but they do have just that little bit of a smoke tint to them, which to me looks really good on the red. And of course we've got our lights up here in the back of the mirror. Those are turn signals and marker lights. And we have our marker lights up here on the cab. That was a must for me. I know that's probably trivial for a lot of people, but when I was looking for a heavy duty truck, I wasn't even interested in it if it didn't have the cab marker lights on it. We did opt for the Duramax diesel with the Allison transmission. We'll get into that a little bit later about what I think about that, but that's the way we went. So there are two options on this truck that I wanted to get, but this one did not have, and that is the spray-in bed liner with the gooseneck hitch prep package. That was about $1,000 extra, but we did not order this truck. We bought it off the lot, and this is the closest they had to having everything that I wanted that I could find on a lot. That was really the only feature that I settled for not having, because they told me that they could put in the bed liner or do a spray-in bed liner at the dealership for $490 after taxes. And I thought, well, that's actually pretty reasonable for them to do that. So that's not too bad of an add-on. And of course the gooseneck prep package, that'll be something that I don't even have a gooseneck trailer right now, but it was something I was going to try to prepare for when buying a new truck, but I went ahead and settled for not having it because it is something you can add later. So the truck's kind of a mess right now because of all this bad weather and rain and snow that we've had. So the floor mats and stuff are kind of a mess. That also prompted me to go ahead and get the full coverage floor mats, which I'll have a video on that coming up too. I ordered those. They actually just came in yesterday, so I'm going to do a little thing of installing those mats. So this truck is fairly basic inside. Like I say, this is the custom trim package, and there's not much add-ons to this at all. Where it is the diesel, it has the exhaust brake, and then we've got the tailgate that drops from the button here. So if I do add that gooseneck package, then I'll be able to drop the tailgate from inside the cab as I'm backing up to my trailer and be able to hook up that way. Of course, you got your hazards, traction control, and this is your all 4 windows down. It's just basic inside here. Manual controls on your heat or your temperature and your fan control, and then your selection of where you want your air to be blowing. It does have the rear glass defrost and the mirror defrosters. Of course, air conditioning. It also has your power mirrors, but it's only the top portion of the mirror that is power. The bottom spot mirror is not power. You have to adjust that manually. And these are also manual fold and manual extend. So another thing too, the only thing we have on the steering wheel, which I've got it turned upside down right now where I'm parked, but the only thing we have on the steering wheel is actually our cruise control buttons. We do not have radio controls or anything like that. Your radio and all your screen adjustments have to be done from right here on the screen itself or in your panel here, which, you know, I don't really miss that because, I mean, my old truck actually did have the audio controls and all that stuff here on the steering wheel, phone controls, but I don't mind having to reach over here, and a lot of times I even reach over there on the old truck. These are certain things that I can actually do without in order to have a good, reliable, basic truck. And all these bells and whistles on the new trucks, to me, it actually kind of scares me away because there's so many electronics on them that you hear stories of the electronics failing probably as much or more than the mechanical side. I didn't really want to go too fancy, and I don't think I'm going to miss that. So far, I've had this truck for a month, and I've driven 641 miles, and I'm not missing it yet. So as of right now, I do not miss any of that stuff. We do have our integrated trailer brake controller down here. There's a whole bunch of settings and stuff on this truck that you can do on the screen. So you can kind of change some things around with your vehicle, like your alarms, comfort and convenience, lighting, power door locks. Like all this stuff is just kind of a little bit of customization things. You've got different apps you can select for your phone, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then, of course, your basic setup. So we've also got, of course, power windows, power door locks, and then we've got the automatic headlights. It does not have fog lamps on it, but it does have the button here that you can actually push to control it. I'm not sure if there's maybe a kit that you can just put fog lights on and hook it into this existing system. But then you've also got your cargo light right here, which turns the lights on inside the bed. Plus, it also turns on the lights that are on your mirrors that shine back behind you. And of course, you've got your trailer tow knob, your 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low buttons. You got your electric parking brake right here. And of course, it has your steering wheel column adjustment right here. You can adjust that up and down. You got a couple storage compartments, your glove box. It's kind of weird, like the lid on this box is really big. The compartment is not that big, but it's just that much, a little bit of extra space, I guess. And then you've got like a regular size glove compartment right there. You got the center console, got a couple cup holders, little pockets here, and then you've got a good size storage compartment there. One thing I like about this trim level, even though this is a lower trim level, being a custom, it's a step above the WT model, the work truck, but it still has this nice padded console here, and it feels really good. So whenever you're in the truck, you don't feel like all that hard plastic, the things that you're actually touching. The steering wheel on this one is a kind of a hard rubber, but it's still a rubberized feel, so it feels a little bit better than that bottom grade of plastic. And like the XL version in the Ford, when I drove it, this steering wheel was like a hard plastic. Everything around was just a really hard, kind of cheap plastic. These are kind of hard plastics, but they're not quite as harsh feeling as what the Ford is. Plus, it's trimmed out, and I actually kind of like this shiny trim here We'll see how long I like that, because I don't know how bad that'll scratch up, but it kind of gives it that little added luxury look to it without being a luxury vehicle. Plus, the custom trim does have the carpet, and that's why I wanted to get those full coverage floor mats, because I do want to protect the carpet in here with as much mud and stuff as we have. It has the auto dimming rear view mirror and side mirrors. And the auto dim, this one does not have the screen in it. There's some of them that you can get that actually you can option it to have the screen in the rear view mirror and, you know, show you a camera view of what's behind you. So this is the crew cab version, and this is the first crew cab truck that I've owned, and so far I'm really liking this. Excuse the mess. Again, I've been working out of it. I haul my work gear inside the truck, so I've got stuff everywhere. But you can see the room in the floor, and it is a flat floor pretty much all the way across. There's a tiny hump right here in the middle, but not much really at all. This one I got with the little added storage compartment right here, which I really would have thought that this would be a lot bigger and add more storage to it, because look how much your seats stick out past the storage compartment. I would have thought they would have added, you know, some more room there. But this one does allow me to have the extra stuff. Like I've got my plug-in for my engine block heater. I've got my grill cover over there. I actually can carry some clothes and stuff here. I've got an umbrella in here for work. So, I mean, you can put quite a bit of stuff in here, but I still would have thought they would have brought it out farther to have a lot bigger storage space. But if they did, I guess they'd be taking up a lot of that room for the flat floor. You know, if you raise your seats up, then that doesn't really leave you much of a flat floor here. So maybe they kind of just divided that difference and thought that that was good. But so far, it's working out pretty good, because like I say, I've actually put some rain jackets and clothing and stuff in here, and that keeps it from being piled up usually in my seats, which, like all this stuff, my gloves and my hats, all that'll fit in there with no problem. This truck pretty much has seating for 6. The middle console will fold up. You have room for 3 people in the front, and then you've got the 3 room here in the back. There's some neat little storage compartments here in the back seat. You just open those up, and there's little cubbies back here. There's a console here in the middle that folds down so that your passengers can have a cup holder. And then that other seat over there also has the same pull-out compartment in it. So one thing I really liked about the Chevy, and what I was liking about the 2023 Ford F250s, was that they have these bedside steps in them. And a lot of people, it's kind of been controversial. A lot of people say they don't like the looks of them, but I actually really like it. It kind of gives it a little bit more rugged look, in my opinion. And then, of course, you've got the steps in your bumpers. On the Ford, I was actually going to opt for also having the tailgate step, because they have the one when your tailgate opens, you can pull a step out and then it brings the step way down low. And then the Multi-Pro tailgate was like another $500. So I just went ahead and kind of skipped out on that. Another thing we'll take a look at here, and one of the reasons that I purchased this truck versus a Ram 2500 is the payload and the towing. And also, where this truck is a lower trim package, these numbers get pretty high. Our gross vehicle weight rating on this truck is 11,350 pounds. So over here on our trailer towing, gross vehicle weight rating, 11,350 pounds. Gross combined weight rating, 27.5. The curb weight of the truck is 7,876. And the max payload is 3,474. That's a pretty good payload for a 2500 series truck. I've seen some of the 3500 Rams that's only rated for like 3,600 pounds. So this being a 2500, this is a pretty good number right here. Conventional trailer towing, 18,500 with a 1,850 pound tongue weight. And gooseneck towing is actually the same at 18.5, but the tongue weight on it is 27.75. So this is another thing too. Your payload's 34.74, but your gooseneck tongue weight is 27.75. So that leaves you several hundred pounds for you to have passengers and all that kind of stuff without overloading your truck. So 18,500 pounds is a pretty good towing number. It's not leading, it's not class leading, but it's still a really good number. And the payload on this truck, being a diesel, at that 3,400 pounds is actually really good. Again, when you go with some of the other manufacturers like Ram, for instance, their payload on their diesel is quite a bit less than what their gas engine is. So with that in mind, that's kind of what led me to get into a decision between buying a Ford and buying a Chevy, and then availability and price ended up being the determining factor of the Ford and the Chevy. So a couple more quick things on this truck that was in this package that I really wasn't going to get with the Ram or the Ford, and that is also the remote tailgate. So I can drop the tailgate down. So one thing I'm not used to, it doesn't have a handle on it like most traditional vehicles would have, or like my old truck had. And it just got a button right here if you want to drop the tailgate. And one last thing on this truck that it has that I really wasn't expecting to get, because on all the other trucks, you know, it was an added thing and it was extra money that I was going to have to spend. So I was trying to leave off the things that I didn't feel were absolutely necessary. But this one also is remote start. So in the cold weather, you know, this works out really good, and I've used this several times already whenever we had our record cold spell just a couple weeks ago. It's not push button start like a lot of them. It just has an old traditional key and you just plug it in, you crank it up. You know, I guess it depends on what you're looking for, whether you like that or not. But again, I don't mind it because I'm kind of old school anyways on that kind of stuff. So this video is running a little bit long, but I wanted to kind of take you through and show you as much detail on this 2023 Chevy Silverado as I could. That way, if you're thinking about getting one and trying to compare models, then you can kind of see everything that's in here. This truck, I will show you, I'll put a picture of the window sticker on there too, so that you can actually see, you know, what's 100% on there, and that how many options are on it, which there's not very many options on this truck at all. But the biggest option on this truck is the Duramax diesel. So as you can see on the window sticker, MSRP was $62,965. And what we ended up paying for this truck was $58,000. So we got $5,000 off on the MSRP, but it kind of broke down to, we agreed on $58,500, and then because my wife is a healthcare worker, Chevy actually had another $500 discount for healthcare workers. So I ended up making the truck right at $58,000. So overall, I really like the styling of this truck. When I was searching online for vehicles, I was just trying to see what was in my area that might kind of match up. I seen the dealer actually had a picture of this specific truck. It wasn't a manufacturer's photo of a truck they had coming into a lot. It was actually one that the dealer took, and I seen it and I was like, oh man, that right there, that does it. That's the collar that I want. That's, you know, the trim that looks really good. I'm very satisfied with the way that looks. By the dealer actually putting this on there, that's really what kind of sold the truck. So like I was saying, stay tuned, because we're going to have a whole bunch of videos on this truck. I'm going to run through with you too on the buying process, the situation that I went through with the dealer, and my experience with the dealer. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for checking out the video, and we'll see you on the next one.